In March 2019, the United States Marine Corps opened one of their most important bases for combat aviation to the whole world. With up-close static displays of modern marine aviation and ground force units, an aerial display featuring amazing civilian stunt pilots, incredible combat demonstrations featuring aircraft from today's modern Marine Air Ground Task Force or MAG-TF concept, and maybe an unintentional preview of tomorrow's Marine Corps? With grace I have neither earned nor deserved, the Marine Corps Air Station Yuma decided to give me an all-access pass to this year's air show. This is SInjin's All Access Marine Corps Air Station Yuma. Marine Corps Air Station Yuma is located about 2 miles from downtown Yuma, Arizona, in the southwestern corner of the state. Sharing runways with the Yuma International Airport, Marine Corps Air Station Yuma is the perfect location if you want to be flying the hottest combat aircraft today. Originally used by the Army Air Force's Flying Training Command during World War II as a pilot training base for AT-6 Texans and B-26 Marauders, it was eventually handed over to the United States Marine Corps in 1959, where it has remained a critical component of Marine Corps aviation. 80% of all Marine air-to-ground training happens at Marine Corps Air Station Yuma. Although the base only has 4,000 active duty personnel permanently stationed, at any given time, up to 14,000 personnel will have training assignments throughout the year. The base's main value is the number of good weather flying days, 350, and its close proximity to the world's top combat facilities, including the Nellis and Barry M. Goldwater Ranges, the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center at 29 Palms, Fort Irwin, and the Yuma Proving Grounds. With the Marines being the lead force on implementation of the F-35B program, Marine Corps Air Station Yuma has become a hotbed for fifth-generation military aviation. From the moment you come on base, every Marine was friendly, parking and transportation to the flight line was convenient, toilet facilities were plentiful and easy to find. Just a really well thought and laid out event, something the public always appreciates. The static displays were good and worth arriving early in order to have time to appreciate the aircraft unique to Marine Corps Air Station Yuma. There are examples of aircraft that predate World War II, the F-5N Tiger II, F-18 Hornet, AV-8B Harrier, HH-1N Iroquois, KC-130 Hercules, MV-22 Osprey, A-10 Thunderbolt II, UH-1Y Venom, CH-53 Super Stallion, AH-1Z Viper, and even a C-12 Huron. The air show was blessed with an incredible collection of World War II aircraft flown in by the Commemorative Air Force, Southern California and Arizona Wings. From Camarillo, California, two stalwarts of the Grumman stable, the F6F Hellcat and F8F Bearcat. And from the local wing, the B-17 Sentimental Journey. From the start of the flying portion, Marine Corps Air Station Yuma never let up with either its power or its grace. The AV-8B is still one of the world's most potent strike fighters, and Yuma is home to one of the most famous squadrons of all time. Maintaining the same emblem used by the Corsair Squadron, commanded by Congressional Medal of Honor winner Gregory "Pappy" Boyington, the 2019 Black Sheep ride an impressive mount.
That's amazing capability to watch them come in.
Having been originally developed beginning in 1957 by the British, the McDonnell Douglas Boeing AV-8B is absolute proof that for at least a short amount of time, the air can be beaten into submission. Expecting a chance to catch your breath may be needed, but is denied by the entrance of Shockwave. I caught up with Shockwave's owner-driver, Chris Darnell, a couple weeks later so he could explain what this beautiful truck can actually do.
Yeah, I'm Chris Darnell, the driver of the Shockwave jet truck. You see behind me, it's a 36,000 horsepower triple engine truck. It has three Pratt & Whitney or Westinghouse J34-48 engines out of the T2 Buckeye, the A model. And that was a single engine airplane. This has three of them, plus we add the afterburner, so it has 21,000 pounds of thrust.
I asked Mr. Darnell how he measures success.
Wowing the crowd. My goal at an air show is for the fans that are here that came to see the jet team or some performer that they had in mind to change their mind and them leave here with the jet truck being their favorite act.
Going from 0 to over 300 miles per hour, Shockwave never leaves the crowd disappointed. What makes this such a special story is learning about the good old family business that is the Darnell Racing Stable.
Yeah, this is a family business. Family's very important to us. My crew guy is the only one that's involved that is not actually in our family. His name's Wayne Rachel. He travels with me to all the shows. My family, my dad and mom, they own the company, Darnell Racing Enterprises, and we have 4 jet trucks. I run this one pretty much all the time, and my dad drives our single engine pickups most of the time. Once in a while Shockwave, and then we have a guy, Mark Smith, that drives our fire truck. My wife and kids travel with me a lot. Huge part of this. Couldn't do it without them. They travel with me all summer. She's a teacher, and so that pretty much makes up our team. My kids are 9 and 11, but do amazing help at the shows.
From there on, the Marines took over. One thing Marines usually are not is subtle. And Marine Corps Air Station Yuma followed Shockwave with the belle of the ball, a full flight demonstration of the Lockheed Martin F-35B Lightning II. Demonstrating both its traditional and V-STOL configurations, the performance by VMFA 122, the Flying Leathernecks, was one that left the crowd in awe. Where the AV-8B brutalized the air for only brief moments, The F-35B balances on a surprisingly quiet pinhead for as long as the mission requires. While no one outside the program truly knows the full capabilities of the Lightning's fully fused sensor suite, it was obvious to even a neophyte like myself that the F-35's angle of attack and hover control abilities are more instantaneous and sustained than fourth-generation mounts. The F-35 is intended to eventually replace both the F-18 and AV-8B in Marine service. Tactical fighter aircraft live on the razor's edge, and that neighborhood is loaded with dangers and threats. Thankfully, the Marine aviators at Yuma have a dedicated search and rescue squadron that fly the venerable HH-1N. Known as the Huey to millions, the Iroquois at Yuma serve numerous purposes including airborne command and control, tactical recovery of aircraft, search and rescue, and aeromedical evacuation. While many came to see the F-35, it could be argued that the best flying display was put on by the MV-22B Osprey from VMX-1. Where it was almost impossible to notice the F-35 transformer-like change from vertical to horizontal flight, the MV-22 was a visual reminder that truly brilliant people design, build, and fly aircraft. Demonstrating both max performance flight and vertical conversion, the MV-22 might be the closest to a bird a human being will ever achieve. The F-5 has been a staple of the United States military since the 1950s. Marine Corps Air Station Yuma maintains a full-time adversary force and utilizes the F-5 as its primary aircraft. Painted in the colors of traditional U.S. foes like Russia, China, and North Korea, the F-5 is an extremely economical way to simulate the threats that frontline Marine aviators are expected to overcome. With all their aircraft aloft, it was time to demonstrate the full capabilities of the United States Marine Corps and their MAG-TF concept. With the F-35 and AV-8B able to obtain air superiority and fend off the F-5 bad guys, the Marines inserted airborne troops utilizing a CH-53 in order to stop and eliminate an enemy convoy. The use of well-timed pyrotechnics gave the demonstration a sense of realism that was quite impressive. The Air Force's only entrance was the Fairchild A-10 Thunderbolt II. With its lower speed and unmatched turn radius, the U.S. Air Force's A-10 Thunderbolt II demonstration team showed everyone what close air support looks like when it's done by the best. A regular heart-tugging scene played out with what is called the Heritage Flight. The air show crowd at Yuma was not disappointed when the U.S. Air Force's A-10 Thunderbolt II joined up on a beautiful P-51D Mustang named Wee Willie II. The Yellow Thunder from Canada demonstrated what even an old military trainer, the AT-6, or as those from the Great White North insisted, the Harvard, could accomplish when given to capable pilots. Brothers David and Drew Watson show why this unique trainer has a legitimate right to claim the throne of best flight trainer ever produced. The Marine Corps Air Station Yuma Air Show technically begins before the Blue Angel or Thunderbird's traditional seasons. No problem for Marine Corps Air Station Yuma. Enter Tora Tora Tora. A truly unique aerial display of vintage aircraft that recreate the chaotic first moments at Hickam Field during the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Tora 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 used precision flying, sound effects, pyrotechnics, and a well-written narration to walk the audience through that infamous day. The presentation was compelling and actually did bring the crowd back to 7:30 a.m. on December 7th, 1941. Only excessive smoke made getting quality pictures difficult. Although I've been to many air shows, Marine Corps Air Station Yuma put on a pretty memorable event, and a monstrous thank you must go out to the Marines that made that day special. The static displays were well placed, easy to access, and every Marine who was positioned to answer public questions took great pride in explaining what they did. The air portion had few slow periods. Outstanding narration was provided by Rob Ryder, and each performance seemed to deliver at the top of their potential. Food and restrooms were plentiful, and entertainment for the kids seemed adequate. There were a couple areas of possible improvements for next year. If you paid for the grandstand or were in the commander's tent, you saw some amazing stuff. If you were in the corporate chalets or the media section, you heard some amazing stuff going on over there. The seating is on an L configuration, but the flight line was straight. We generally only saw the aircraft when they were pulling out. You might consider pre-positioning your emergency equipment and using the entire flight line down past the fire station. The only other thing would be including an F-18 on the flight list. You brought in a beautiful example from Marine Corps Air Station Miramar for the static display. It would have been nice to see an F-18C, F-35B, and AV-8B in a 3-ship line abreast formation flight. So on the SInjin Smythe Air Show rating scale, for logistics, parking, food, shuttles, bathrooms, a 5 out of 5, extremely user-friendly. For static displays, 3 7/10 out of 5. Nice overall, but not blown away. Missing a couple key aircraft with marine lineage, like the Corsair and the Wildcat. Aerial display, 4 3/10 out of 5. This is proof that you can hit a solid triple, but without either of the big two, hard to touch them all. Seating, 3 3/10 out of 5. The layout was excellent for the general public, but if you thought you were going to be treated to something special because you paid for an executive chalet, I think you might have left disappointed. Scheduling, 5 out of 5. With the rapid entry, there was enough time to see the static displays and be in your seat for the start of the show. The air component never dragged and ended with something truly unique. Public connections, 5 out of 5. United States Marines are a special breed of human being. No one wants to fight them, but everyone secretly wished they were one. Each Marine I met, whether enlisted or officer, was polite, professional, and gave you a sense of confidence that our country no matter what the problems, is going to be all right. Thank you for making all of us feel so welcome and so proud. For a grand total and a new leader on the SAR board with a 26 3/10 out of 30 is the 2019 Air Show at Marine Corps Air Station Yuma.